Hey everybody, hope you're well, and it's James here over at the Part-Time Entrepreneur. A good friend of mine asked me to review this, and quite a few other people have asked me to review it, and there seemed to be a bit of hype around it. It's also in the retail industry, which is where my background is, over 20 years of experience there. And so I thought, you know what, I was an advisor for INS. I really love that project. I think it's going to be amazing. The whole thing sold out straight away. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a whirl, because if it's within retail and stuff, I'll understand it. I'll know what the flaws are. I'll know what the benefits are, and I'll be able to do a really decent review. So let's get started. So what is it? It literally is a customer identification platform. So when you walk through the doors of Claire's Accessories, Next, Armani, whatever it is, wherever you shop, it will identify who you are in real time using their special sensor technology, and there's no need for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and all these types of things. And what it will do is empower the retailers to take your digital data from maybe many different stores of how your shopping habits are and everything else, and use that to create a loyalty program or offerings to you as you walk around the store. And what they're trying to do is create a big universal program using one cryptocurrency. So interesting idea, sounds quite good, but we need to delve a little bit deeper. So the 4 questions I had from the start were: what is ion sensory technology? How does it all work? When they say digital intelligence, what is it? And let's talk a bit more about the loyalty program. What does it look like? And what are the trends in the market at the moment? So the first thing is that it will identify a customer within 200 meters of like entering a store. Same distance as a mosquito will identify you as well. So you ain't going to get bit like a mozzie, but that's just one poor fact of the day for you there. The other thing is it's measuring sensory, temperature, pressure, motion, acceleration, sound. I don't know how this is really going to enhance the shopping experience by, I don't know, I don't get this bit of data. Very nice, but maybe that's a bit of data overload there. Captures invisible dark data. Don't even know what that is. So for me already, I've got some question marks on this. The fact that it's security, privacy, we expect that being blockchain, because that's what it's all about. And it can identify a lot of users in a very small amount of time. Again, you would need that for a very busy shop. Again, it's blockchain based, enables transactions between partners and customers. And obviously, you can use that potentially to scale it up to a global. So, let's take a particular store that's worldwide, Toys R Us, maybe for instance, where you could use that globally. Obviously, the data is unbreachable as well. Next thing is state-of-the-art learning platform. So obviously, they're taking your data and trying to learn more about you. And then they can create sort of real-time bespoke promotions and those types of things. So, if you can come in and they'll send you a promotion, they can measure very quickly, the return on investment. They gave you £5 worth of tokens, and you spent 100 quid, well, that was 40% profit, whatever it was. So they're able to do this sort of on the fly, instant return notifications. So then they can say, right, the next person that comes in that fits that profile, will also give them £5 and make them spend £100 in store. And all of this at the end, you will get some cryptocurrency in the form of Encash, which will be part of their loyalty program that can be used anywhere, and it can be converted back into cash, or you can go spend it at other retailers. And here's the little bad boy. This is what it looks like apparently. So each store would potentially have one of these, which obviously I'm sure would be linked to that store, all their data and stuff, and then obviously as you walk in it will recognise. Now, I had some challenges looking at this straight off the cuff. So the first thing is this: the cost of setting this up for a retailer. So, if you're looking at someone like Next or someone like that, they're not going to do it in one store. They've got thousands of stores, seen thousands of these units, and I'm guessing that they're not going to be $9.99 for this 3 years worth of technology building it and stuff. It's going to be a lot more money than that. The next thing is there any monthly ongoing costs for the retailer? Because this is another question that they'll have. Again, couldn't find it because there was no real white paper about. And the other thing is there is a cost of using the Encash token. So the thing is, the retailers will now need to stock up on this particular Encash to create and move the ecosystem forward, which with most things, like when you create a loyalty program, you have to invest in it. Where here they have to buy the tokens up front. With the traditional loyalty program, they probably give them £5 off. So there's no true investment up front. It'll be on a brochure, which is the printing cost or whatever, which is pennies. So this potentially could cost a lot more. And again, you can spend the Encash anywhere. Now that, I think, poses a problem, because it's great for the consumer, but it's not great for the retailer. So why would the retailer even look at this? So that's the first key question that comes out, because if I'm a retailer, I want you to spend your cash and your Encash in my store. I want the lot. And I want you to buy my products. I want you to wear the Superdry hoodie or whatever it is and advertise my brand to other people, because I know that word of mouth is the biggest #1 marketing tool out there, bar none. It's absolutely #1. So there's some key red flags that have shown themselves straight away, because the white paper isn't out and things are very unclear. Now the next thing is, like, how does it work? So I'm walking into a shop and the ion sensor recognizes that it's James. So I'll have previously must have signed up to this, because obviously they can't just take your data and annoy the shit out of you, because that would really be annoying. And again, the system, Nucleus vision system, would obviously recognize me. It would send their data. It would send me a push notification to start off with. So that would say, you know, would you like to opt into their loyalty program? And I'll tell you what, we'll give you some Encash. Then I say yes. So if there is a whole bunch of data about me from, I don't know, maybe I've been to the Superdry store and some other places, they can request that data and they pay those other retailers some Encash. They'll also send me a request to say, is it okay if we get this data from these other retailers, and we'll give you some Encash. So all of a sudden, all I've done is I've walked into a store, I've said, yeah, sign me up to a loyalty program. They've then asked if they can have data from other stores. I've said yeah, and they've given me some Encash. I haven't even bought anything yet. So if I walk out that store and don't spend a penny, then I've just made myself a nice bit of cash, and the retailer has absolutely nothing. This is my second this is another red flag, big red flag. So the customer will receive, notification that they can share your data, and they can have a look at that. Now what they do is they have a rating system. So they will rate you on if you're a high spender or a low spender. Now this is my next red flag, because this is going to cause a whole bunch of issues. If you walk in there and you don't really spend that much money, then they ain't going to come and harass you, because they know that you ain't really going to buy anything. So that's probably a good thing. However, if you spend quite a lot of money, they're going to harass the shit out of you. And they're going to be coming up to you and asking you. And it is the most annoying thing in the world when you're in a store just trying to look at something. And even if you want help and someone comes up to you and goes, hi, do you want some help? You're like, no, go away. I'm trying to do this, trying to have a look here. Very, very rarely that we will accept help like that. And the other thing is they'll have your data and they'll know your name. Now that's just going to freak the shit out of people. Like, people think they're going to be stalked or whatever. I can see this being a little bit of a nightmare. Again, 2-3 years down the line, it just might be just standard and it will accept it as every day. But to start off with, it's going to freak the hell out of some people. Like, how do you know my name? They'll be looking, have I got a name badge and all this type of thing. So, and I know that we sign up to these things and we put our name in it, but we quickly forget most things. And then we're asking questions. And then the third bit is that the store can then offer you a promotion. So if you buy whatever today or spend so much, we'll give you so many Encash. So actually, if you do spend something, then, you are going to get rewarded, which is pretty cool. And again, like I've said, you can cash out to fiat currencies, or you can go and spend it at another store. So from a consumer point of view, I think there's some key benefits in the sense of there's a one system that you can just use. That's quite good, the ecosystem. But as we've just talked about through there, the amount of times you're going to have to get your phone out your pocket to accept, that could be slightly annoying. Now, if you go into 20 shops, that is going to annoy the shit out of you. So Maybe if you're a shopaholic, it may be very different and you want all the bargains and all the rest of it. But I know for me, I wouldn't even be signing up to this. I'd switch it off. I don't give a shit about Encash tokens. I just want to go in, do my shopping, get out. I'll be happy using the plastic card as usual. And the thing is now, you've got the apps on your phone, so don't even have to take the cards in. I just flick through, boom, scan, job done. I think sometimes we're doing blockchain for blockchain's sake. The next one is digital intelligence. So the first thing is they're going to have your name. Not a lot of people want that. I know it feels like it's going to be personalized and stuff, but I personally wouldn't want that. Then you've got all your shopping habits. So they have all that data. They've paid you for it, so that's pretty cool. That's not so bad. But it will literally have your potential value as a customer. So now, when you walk through the door, they're going to look at you and determine if they treat you like a king or not even bother you. Now, in some cases, you don't want to be bothered, and that's great. But all of a sudden, you've just got a big pound sign above your head when you walk through the store, and they'll either go, oh, yes, or nah, sod it. And that's going to affect customer service. So for me, customer service is that everybody that walks through the door gets treated like a king. That is quality customer services. This will drive the wrong behaviours. As I go through this, you can probably see I dislike it more and more. Unfortunately. Sorry, guys. So next thing is you need to look at the trends. So what are the trends that are happening right now? So the first mega trend is that we are shopping online more and more. And the thing is this, no matter what system's extra sensor notice you from fucking 500 miles away, it ain't going to make a difference because the trends that are happening right now are driven by key mega trends. The first one is technology. We spend more time on our phones than we ever have, and it's made easier for us to shop online and more convenient. The next thing is time. We want more time to do the things with our friends, with our families and stuff. We don't want to go to a store. We don't want to drive in the traffic, spend ages in store, then queue up, and then drive all the way back home. That's 3 or 4 hours when I can spend 2 minutes, order it online. If I don't like it, I just send it back. So we're seeing these huge trends of online, and this is just a small example. And what's the other reason? It's price perception. So if you're running an online business, you can offer better discounts, and people notice that. So people notice that the physical store price is a lot higher than the online price. So you want to save money. Now, what you'd give away in Encash tokens and all the rest of it doesn't really matter because you're not really bothered that much because you know that you're saving a hell of a lot more online. And even if you buy in store and your Encash tokens, it's more expensive than if you just shopped online. So there's no real incentive to do this. I think these guys have identified a problem of trying to get people when they walk into store to buy more and learn more about shopping habits, which is great and it's very interesting. And I work in this industry and I love category management, which is this is what this is, where you try to understand the shopper. What are they doing? How can you get them to buy more? But this is going against the mega trends that are out there. And this can be very hard to break. Unless you create more time for people to go to store and change the price perception, it ain't going to happen. The next thing is, let's look at the trend. So again, we can see 2010-11 was a real big crossover where e-commerce sales really took over. And, department stores were in this continual decline since 2000. So I can see what these guys are trying to do. They're trying to fix a problem where you have a loyalty program, so you're trying to get people to buy more in department stores. But you're fighting against the megatrends, and you can't fight a megatrend. You are gonna lose the battle. So things like health and protein at this moment in time, gluten-free, these are all the megatrends in the marketplace. They're going absolutely ape. The markets are worth billions in terms of Tesco's and all the rest of it, in terms of what they're doing. You go into store now and you'll see that there are more bays of dedicated gluten-free and all these types of things. Why? Because it's the megatrend. And Tesco's don't go, well, we're not doing it. They recognise that it's a trend and know that they have to go with it. Otherwise, they get left behind. They lose market share, they lose sales, and they'll end up being the red line instead of the blue line. So this is a massive, massive factor. The next one is you've got ASOS. you know, a classic online retailer. If you then look at some of the other bricks and mortar retailers, I mean, they're getting absolutely smashed. ASOS, I think Boohoo as well, Amazon, all of these online retailers are absolutely killing it. And this is a real watch out on this one, because they're trying to create a solution against megatrends in a declining market, which is very dangerous in my opinion. Or brave, one or the other. And again, something I talked about before, what is the best type of marketing? It's word of mouth. This is why things like network marketing are so huge, is because word of mouth is phenomenally massive. I mean, you can do all the advertisement, PR, you can see it has very little impact. The reason that you buy a fragrance, for instance, is because you're out in a club and you smell your mate's or a friend's cologne. You go, wow, mate, that smells wicked. What is it? Oh, it's whatever it is. David Beckham, let's say. You think, wow, I'm going to buy that. But you've just seen 30 adverts of David Beckham spraying this stuff on, and you weren't interested. But until you smell it and your friend had it, and you think, hey, that's nice, I like it. And he said, yeah, have a little spray. Yeah. Maybe you got lucky that night, whatever. You know, and that's how it works. Word of mouth is huge. Don't underestimate the power of the influence of key individuals. So the next thing is the loyalty program facts. It costs about 5 to 10 times more to create a new customer. So you've got to factor that in on top of all of the ion sensor costs, the whatever, the Encash, all the rest of it. You've got to factor that in on top of this. So it's massive outlay. And not many people want to outlay. The biggest thing at the moment is people are cutting back on these types of things. The other thing is your existing customers spend 67% more than new ones. So even if you get a new customer, they're not even really spending that much. And then all we're doing is, and in the industry, it's labelled rewarding heavy users. So people that buy into your brand, very loyal, and you're just rewarding them, just to keep them buying, basically. And a lot of people do this, like Tesco's do it. So Clubcard is a classic example. So they look at the data and they look at patterns, and they'll see you doing a big shop. Let's say you're spending 100 quid a week, and then you go 2 weeks where you don't spend 100 quid. They'll send you a £20 voucher to get you back in store ASAP to do your big shop again, because they understand the power of these sort of things. Now, I don't think these plans or programs will be as aggressive, but they might be. I don't know. It all depends on the stores and on what they decide to do. And the other thing is this. If you watch some of my videos, you'll see I wear a lot of Superdry. I quite like it. And brands say something about you. We have a repertoire of brands that we buy into. And it's more about why than the what. And this program, as I look at it, is very what, and it's not very why driven. And we already know, if you watch Simon Skonik's video on why, it's amazing. And you just understand why great brands like Apple, for instance, will pay 4 times more for a laptop that's not as good as the one that you go buy at Curry's for 300 quid. Now, that's got nothing to do with computer power or anything else. It's because it says something about us. The brands that you want people to see with your Apple laptop, and they, hey, look at me. And the thing is this, you know, you don't see many people polishing a Windows laptop, but you'll see every Apple user polishing, keeping it all nice and tidy and stuff. So the brands say something about you. So before we even get to this point, people already have a repertoire of brands that they're buying into. Average household buys into 29 schemes a year and roughly redeem on about 12 of them. So actually condensing this into one scheme sounds quite nice for the consumer because it makes it nice and easy. But on the flip side, you know, someone like Tesco's probably won't want to share data. It'd be interesting for them to get the data, but as they're the big dogs, they'll feel like they're giving away more value than getting value back, potentially. Or they might look at it as they're getting the full picture. I mean, I can't talk for them. I just trying to put myself in the mindset of a retailer, potentially. So with loyalty programs, there's quite a lot of faults. I know I worked on a loyalty program 2 years ago, and actually worked out that it didn't work. It actually cost something like £3 million a year to run the program, and there was no return on investment. So, you know, loyalty programs are good, but they don't always drive the right behaviours or the return on investment that you're looking for. So if you want to know about, positive disruptions in stores to get people to buy more, experiential sort of retail experiences, shopper marketing, this is your guy, Kenneth Hughes. Now, I had the pleasure of catching up with this guy at an industry retail event. Talked to him about blockchain, cashless society, which was quite cool. Now, this guy goes all around the world. This guy's infamous in the marketplace. So this guy goes everywhere talking about the trends, what shoppers do, and all the rest of it. Now, one of the technologies he actually was talking about was the WAN chain technology. I believe it's WAN chain anyway. Where you got the microchips in, and they use blockchain technology, and they can see how many times you picked it up, what colours you picked up, and all the rest of it. So he got all excited, went out to America, was like, how's this working? Want to do a bit of a thing on it and that. And they said it don't work. It doesn't drive sales. Technology costs us more than what it's really worth, and it doesn't really return the return investment that we're looking for. So he's like, okay, that doesn't work. So his speciality is watching shoppers and their behaviours. So you can have all this data that you collect and a system generates something, but to have a human being looking at people shopping, and he watches them for 2-3 weeks at a time, records it all, goes through what were the habits, what were the things that they were doing, what they physically do, so you can see facial expressions, not just if they picked it up or not, because that tells you nothing really, apart from they picked it up, and they might have picked it up by mistake. So, but he can tell everything by watching them, and then he is able to really define the shop on what works. And they were in a supermarket and they were doing a particular trial at that time, and the number one thing that drove 30% more sales wasn't no fancy blockchain technology, wasn't anything spectacular or cost any money. It was just putting baskets halfway around the store, and they drove sales by 30%. So that's what, the technology just can't do, and a human being can. So they're trying to remove some elements where, that's just an amazing little fact, and it costs the store nothing to do that. And if you think about it simply, how many times do you run into, say, Tesco's or something like that, and you grab a few bits, you're only going in for bread, as we always do, and you end up with about 5 things, and then you think of 5 more things that you need, and you think, sod it, I'm not going to buy them, because I'll just drop it everywhere and I'll look a prat. And you go to the till, and you dump them down, and you scan them, and off you go. Where if you have a basket halfway around the store, you spend 30% more, because you think, basket, just at the perfect time. You drop the stuff in, and you continue to shop, and you're spending more money. So I'm probably selling people that, that this technology isn't needed or required at this moment in time. But I need to share with people the facts. I've got 20 years of experience in the industry, so it wouldn't be right for me to keep that all to myself, but I need to share it and share the facts so you can make your own decision. You might get to the end of this and say, hey, I'm buying anyway, or whatever, and you haven't seen my actual last bit at the end of this anyway, but I have to share the facts with you and allow you to make a balanced opinion. And you might want to look at some other YouTubers as well. They've got some key partnerships in place, which is really good. So Vodafone, Intel, huge companies, we've all heard of them. And again, so that's a good starting block for these guys. The next thing is if you look at the team. Now, the first thing that jumps out is that these two guys have, the CEO and the CTO have the same last name. Now, I don't know if they're family, cousins, or whatever, but I know in business, you never do business with family or friends. Big question mark on this straight off. However, the guy's been to Harvard. I'm sure he's a very intelligent guy. Had a quick look at his profile. Looks pretty kosher to me. Had a quick look at Martin's as well. And then I also had a look at Anvish as well. So now, when I look at people's profiles, I look at longevity. So how long did they spend at certain companies and stuff? And this guy's moved around every 2 years. Now that is a bit of a red flag for me. And the reason is this, because every time I see that, there's always an issue with people. Now, a classic example is Centra. Now, you can go back, you can watch some of my views, and one of the things that I pulled out was there was two guys that I pulled out. The main guy, I can't think of his name right now, and another guy that had like 20 years experience with a certain company, and he looked as solid as a rock. And the other guy was moving around every couple of years, or even a year and a half or so, and he was the big dog there. And obviously, we know the story that he ran off with a whole bunch of the cash from the ICO, and the price tanked completely. It's bounced back quite nicely now, which is great, but I always keep an eye out. Now, that's not to say that he's just not an ambitious guy, and he's trying to get as much experience as he possibly can. But again, it's one of the things that I always look for, and generally, I'm bang on the money with these things. They've also got Tim Draper, so again, early Bitcoin investor, and also an early investor in Skype. So, you know, big technology investor guy invested in this, but it means pretty much nothing. We've seen some big people go into some key technologies and they've absolutely failed. The only one that seems to have worked is Paris Hilton, so maybe they need to get her on this as well. I think she did Filecoin or something, and that just absolutely went bananas. So again, big investor in it, which is nice to see, but it doesn't really sell it for me. Next one, they've got their advisory team, so Min H. Kim, so you know, she was an advisory to Civic, which again I think is a fantastic project. Hold boatloads of that stuff. Missed out on the ICO, and then the price dropped and got in like well cheap, so really happy with that. So excellent project, so she's got good taste. Not sure about B token, I need to have a look at this one, but basically it's Airbnb on the blockchain. Now, most people I know have no issue with Airbnb, and that brand is already established. It's loyal. People love it. I don't know how they're going to get people to go from Airbnb to B token, which is a nobody brand that nobody knows about and nobody cares about at this moment in time. So again, one good choice, one bad choice in my view, but we'll see. And then the next one is Ian Bellina. Now, if this guy shows up, I get the fuck out, basically, because one, it's going to get pumped and dumped, pretty much, and you know, you watch his videos. I mean, he has his own particular style. He seems very intelligent. He seems to be very clued up on IT and technology, which is good, because this is a very high-end technology product, but he knows nothing about retail or marketing, which is my specialty area. Now, it doesn't matter what technology you've got, you cannot beat the human psychology of how this all works. We buy why you do it, not what you do. So a lot of this is when they're sending out a notification, it's literally they're starting with the what. What do you want? We'll give you this discount. Versus why do you want it, and all the rest of it. Just on, you know, the Ian Bellina thing, you know, there's so many issues that appear when this guy turns up. You know, we had the Coben Hood issue where, you know, bit of a kerfuffle on the a deal that he was offered, and then he offered it out to everybody else, and obviously that was probably some discount if you get so many people in, we'll give you this and that and all the other things, because there are bounty programs that people can go on. You know, I've been on some. You know, sometimes I do a video and I realise there's a bounty program and then I go to it, but I don't generally sniff them out where I think he does. He sees what is in it for me versus what is in it for my subscribers, which is just a little bit of a turn off in a sense. And then there was another one where I got a whole bunch of screenshots from a Telegram group where there was a discount on a particular ICO, and he was given that, and then he was charging people to get the discount. So I just walk away if I see this guy involved. And to be fair, I'm up 28,000% now year on year for 2017, and I've not touched any of this guy's ICOs. I've just done all my own ones, and what I think we're going to do really well, and I've done incredibly well out of it. So, you know, if you follow him and you respect him, great. I just walk away if I see this guy involved. Next thing is the live data feed. So they've got these 10 stores, and they've got all these unique things going on and store authorizations and all the rest of it. But that means nothing, absolutely nothing. Where are the results? Of those 10 stores, how many people walked through the door and how many people purchased? That's the data I want to see. I want to see how effective was it? And at each stage, so you've obviously got the 3 stages where someone signs up, etc., etc. What percentage was their participation from someone that walked through the store? These type of things. Next thing is, I've done loads of store trials with some of the biggest retailers in the country. 10 stores isn't enough. I mean, when you're working on a product such as this, that ain't enough. And also, you're not going to get the different demographics, from what I understand. So I would assume that, and again, it's not clear in the white paper, so you have to make some assumptions here, that they've either done 10 particular stores in an area, or they've tried to do 10 stores scattered across the country. Well, the issue is this. You might get people in and using it, but then you don't know if they would have gone to the store next door and used the same product, or used it again. They could be just a one-off user because it's a bit fun or something new, and they'll probably make a bit of a fuss of it in the store. So again, I don't think the quality of the data that will be coming through will be good enough to sort of say yay or nay. I think they probably need to run this in a couple of different countries. They need to run it in more than 10 stores, and they need to run it across different demographics to really understand the power of the data, because data is very powerful and you can do a lot of things with it. So here's the pros. There's not many. You can get specific discounts, which is pretty good. And it creates an ecosystem with the one loyalty program with literally one token that you can either cash out for cash or spend. So you as a consumer, it's pretty good, but as a retailer, it ain't so good. So I could have written pages of cons on this, and I know that I've referenced grocery quite heavily, but even if you reference clothing industry, electronics, it's all the same. Now, there's too many notifications for my liking. You're constantly getting your phone out. I mean, we're on our phones all the time anyway, on bloody WhatsApp and all the rest of it. But I just think you're going to get bombarded with stuff, and it's going to start getting annoying, because we don't like being advertised to and constantly just getting these deals through. It will lose its special effect very, very quickly. And I can see this being a very annoying technology. It'd be great for retailers to be able to get this quite in-depth insight, but it will never match some of the category insight data that I talked about before, which is the observing shoppers physically. You'll never get past that. And I mean, Kenneth had done loads of studies in America where they tried all fancy stuff, and it just doesn't work. It's the basics that really work. Customer service is probably number one. And with this, you're not going to get that. Pound and pence is above your head. And especially with a lot of stores, they have targets. And I know this because I worked in the industry for so long. If you go to a Clarins store or something like that, they have daily targets that they need to hit. And, if you're a big hitter, they're going to be all over you like a rash. And if you're not, they're just going to ignore you because you're not going to do anything for their sales. So it's going to change behaviours of how you're treated when you go in store, potentially. I mean, that's potentially a huge factor. The other thing is the megatrends. It's online. Online is the megatrend. 2020, 2025, however you cut the data, the brick and mortar stores are in decline. This technology is not going to fix that, because it can't give you more time, which is what we want. It's not convenient in the sense that I still have to drive to the store to get recognised by the data or the sensor to send me the offer, when really I just want to shop online like Amazon, and that's why Amazon are absolutely smashing it at the moment. And there's some blockchain competitors to those, and I believe that some of those technologies are absolutely fantastic. So I feel like I've been a bit of a hater of this one a little bit, but it's not that. There's so many holes in it, it's unbelievable. And only working in the industry with 20 years experience that I can spot these very quickly, but maybe people on the outside won't, and I need to share that knowledge. Again, retailer investment, huge adoption. You're going to need a lot of people on board with this. And the thing is this, in the industry at the moment, people are cutting back on marketing budgets and all these types of things. Rather than over investing like you did 5-6 years ago, people would heavily spend on their marketing budgets and for these types of technologies. Now people aren't. And I know it's about creating the ecosystem and making it longer term, probably more financially better, and this instant data. but that's pretty useless in a declining market where online is the king. So, and the other thing is incredibly overhyped, and this is one of the main reasons it sort of came to my notice. And one of the main reasons that I looked at it, because a lot of people ask me, you know, will you have a look at it and all the rest of it. And I just hope I've given you the best possible overview. Now, there's no surprise, it's 4 out of 10. The fact that Ian's in, that, you know, for some people that's going to be amazing. You know, I've got nothing against the guy. It's just I just walk away if I see that guy and stuff. So if I'm personally, I might flip it. I'm not convinced about this project. I did sign up for the whitelist before reviewing it, but obviously if I put my money into anything, I do a deep dive on it, and this is my deep dive in terms of what I believe this is at the moment. So especially without a detailed white paper, it makes it incredibly hard to do, you know, a fair review in that sense. Now, I just appreciate everybody tuning into the channel, because I know this was a long one today. You know, if you like the stuff I'm doing, please hit the like button. Please leave me some comments. Please share the videos as well. I'd really appreciate that. There's links below. I linked with something called Crypto Rookies at the moment. We've got a free newsletter. Come check out the site. I'll leave the links below. Check them out, and hopefully chat to you guys real soon with the next coin or ICO review. And I just really appreciate everyone that's following me and subscribing to the channel. All right, thanks guys.